Thank you, Phil. So Donald Trump's call to ban all Muslims from entering the United States created all kinds of outrage, got him a lot of headlines, more than usual. Today, the Republican frontrunner defended himself in an interview with ABC's Barbara Walters.
Do you regret your ban on Muslims, which some people think is un-American?
Not at all. We have to do the right thing. Somebody in this country has to say what's right.
There are many, even in your own party, who think that ISIS is going to like your rhetoric, that your words are putting us in greater danger.
I'm the worst thing that's ever happened to ISIS. The people in my party fully understand that. They're running against me. For the most part, they have no poll numbers. I'm leading by a lot. They get it. They're trying to get publicity for themselves.
Bringing in Heidi Hamilton from Dish Nation and the Heidi and Frank Show on 95.5 KLOS, and civil rights attorney Leo Terrell, who also has his own show there as well.
They are calling us the Dream Team.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard this.
No doubt you guys talked about this all morning long.
Oh, yeah.
But here he is, saying that he's the worst thing to happen to ISIS. Is he the worst thing to happen to ISIS?
He's the worst thing to happen to the Republican Party. But let me tell you right now, he's leading the polls, and I got news for you. His comments, outrageous, unconstitutional. He's talking about banning American citizens who go overseas to come back. But here's the point. There's a disconnect between what's the opposition towards him in Washington versus the guy on the street. The guy on the street, a lot of people agree with him.
Oh, he's singing their tune.
Yes.
That's scary.
I'm seeing it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And every time you see, every time I see him, I still think I'm watching an SNL skit. Even when he talks, I'm like,
yes,
this is a joke, right? This is a joke, right? And sure enough, it's not a joke. It's really happening. And that's the scary thing. He's doing well.
He's doing very well.
Yeah. So, John Benavidez said he's on track but needed to word it differently. Right. So people think that maybe he's still on track with what he's saying.
Well, when you look at his approval ratings, in the 60% or something like that?
Okay, so 68% of Trump supporters said they would vote for him even if he runs as an independent. So that is very terrifying.
That is terrifying to the GOP party because 68%
he would take
away their vote, almost concede the election to Hillary. He is #1 in all the polls, not only the national polls, but in the state poll in Iowa and New Hampshire. And let's be very clear. People are afraid. I was at a store today, a market, and a woman dressed in a religious, her Muslim garb, and guess what? People start getting nervous. Some people left. So he is resonating.
Maybe it's because of you, though.
Oh,
I had a suit on. I had a suit on.
Oh, well, then you're fine.
Yeah.
You didn't have your regular clothes
But I was talking about Heidi and Frank, so maybe that was
But that's the scary thing. I mean, that's what they were talking about today, where it's the difference between free speech and hate speech. Like what Donald Trump is doing right now, in other parts of the world, that's considered hate speech because it's like riling people up and getting people, like what he's saying about Mexican people or immigrants in general, what he's saying, about Muslim people. It's like they're not all bad, but the not so smart people are going to be like, they're all bad and we're going to go and try to hurt them or kill them or whatever. And it's like, you're not doing any good.
Don't we have to concede that a large part of the country, you're calling them not so smart, but I think a large part of the country says, we've had enough. We see these terror attacks going on, and a lot of people do not want to look at, that it's a gun issue or that it's another issue. They say, this is the issue, and he's the only one that's stepped up to the plate to say that he'll do something about it.
I think there's two reasons why. Lauren, he has the ability, the money, to say what he wants without any repercussions.
Nobody in his pocket,
And here's the other thing. What he is saying right now, people whisper that in their room privately, but if they say it, they'll be chastised. He has no fear because he's totally independent because of his wealth.
Yeah. Well, the other side, the Democrats aren't even saying radical Islam, which has become a wedge issue as well. Lots of people calling this hate speech. In fact, he's been compared to Adolf Hitler.
But lots of people celebrating. There was more people on talk radio this morning singing his praises.
Yes.
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling, she tweeted this. We'll show you her tweet out here. She's comparing Donald Trump. People compared Donald Trump to Voldemort.
Right.
And tweeted this. How horrible. Voldemort was nowhere near as bad. Now, he compared himself to FDR.
Right.
And so FDR took some steps, too.
Well, he's bringing up the fact that we put the Japanese in internment camps. And that was a horrible blemish on American history.
But not only the Japanese, the other secret is Germans were incarcerated. Italians were incarcerated.
That's right.
And those individual groups were incarcerated. And what Trump people are saying, if the president did it, Roosevelt, who's considered a great president, why am I out of line? And so he has an argument there.
But can you understand that he might have a point in the sense that the two people that, police believe were responsible for San Bernardino, the one was American citizen, his wife came over from Saudi Arabia, everything seemed like it was on the up and up. Now he's saying not letting people into our country that happen to be Muslim. As bigoted as that sounds and as un-American as that sounds, we are in a war with terrorists right now, and a large majority do happen to be Muslim. So people that aren't American don't have American rights. I mean, we couldn't tell them.
I agree with that, but the weird thing about what Trump wants to do is he's saying that even a Muslim American that lives in this country that decides to go on to vacation somewhere. I have a friend, his name is Ahmed. He's a stand-up comedian, does a lot of good stuff with the USO. And he was like, that's how I make a living. I travel and I go and I do shows. He does shows for the USO. He's saying, I would only be able to...
He said U.S. citizens, but
if you, as a Muslim, if you leave and come back, that's part of what he's like, you're not going to be allowed to come back.
And one other point, too, this country has never had a religious test for admission. We pride ourselves on freedom of religion, the First Amendment. And if you're going to say to someone out there who's wanted to join this country, you have to be a particular religion, it flies in the face of what we pride most.
Well, what's crazy about that is Muslim's not a race. So he's like, we're going to prevent all Muslims. Like, well,
how do you know?
Well, I wonder how, if anyone's even asked him, how would he even go about doing something like this? First, you have to probably pass it through Congress, and then how would you even vet someone?
And I can lie. I can be like, nope, not a Muslim. Nope, not me. No, sirree. So let me in.
I think this all goes back to his, how he made a name for himself initially with his immigration stance, and people want something done about immigration. So
I was
basically
they don't
saying
feel like the other side's doing.
Borders are not shut, and we're going to have this problem.
Obama had a press conference, a State of the Union speech in the Oval Office, and people didn't come away with like he was decisive.
No.
Or that there was a new strategy.
There's no strategy. Trump comes across decisive, demanding, straight to the point, and he talks in a language that the average guy on Main Street can relate to.
Do you think, though, anti-Muslim rhetoric and anti-Muslim hate crimes are going to be on the uptick as a civil rights lawyer? Can you see this?
Let me find out. Yes.
Oh, you have a crystal ball.
Yeah, because Trump has proven...
Do you really think so? I mean, have we seen that as of yet? Even post 9/11, did you see a large-scale attacks on Muslim Americans? Did that happen?
Listen, I think that Trump has realized that in order to win the nomination, he has to attack the Muslim group. That's what he's doing, because he's playing on people's fear. Win the nomination, he'll change and modify, because he always does this. Yeah. He comes out with a very powerful, bombastic statement, and he'll modify it. And what will happen is he's trying to secure that nomination. Someone's going to pay a price. And at this point, the Muslims are paying a price. Just like when he came out on his speech, the Mexicans paid the price. But he's trying to win that nomination.
Maybe
Heidi paid the price for having to come on with you.
That's okay. I liked it. By the way, Donald Trump's mom was an immigrant. Had she not been able to, then he wouldn't be here. Maybe I'm for this immigration thing now that I'm rethinking it.
Melania, his wife, wouldn't be here.
Exactly. See?
All right.
Something to think about.
Heidi. To see you kids.
We'll figure it out eventually.
Dream team.
Dish Nation. Dish Nation.
Leo Terrell.
Courtney 790. We got it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Up next, we